Most of us on this side of YouTube probably grew up listening and hearing and reading about creepypastas, for better and for worse. For one reason or another, we all found them to be entertaining, terrifying, but also comforting in strange ways. Stories of Slenderman, Ben Drowned, Momo, the Laughing Jack, all these big name creepypastas that you probably still remember to this day, they kind of built our enjoyment and our infatuation with the horror genre. Maybe not, maybe I'm just strange. Beyond these big name creepypastas that you all recall, there are several that have slipped through the proverbial cracks of the internet, and in this video today, I want to discuss 3 of those creepypastas that the internet seems to have forgot about. And I want to tell you their stories, their lore, and how they fit into the internet chronology as it relates to horror and all that stuff. But thank you for clicking on this video. If you want to take a little jaunt down memory lane, you're in the right place. Hopefully you do enjoy it. Also, I apologize for the echo in the office. I just got a new place. So, without further ado, these are the internet's creepypastas that they forgot about, and I'm going to tell you all about them right now. Written all the way back in 2011, Teddy is an uncanny story about a teddy bear, of course, that was a little too lifelike. In the initial creepypasta post, the narrator and creator says that the bear originally belonged to his sister, and that from the moment she got it, he began to notice the unsettling things it did. Specifically, its eyeballs resembled way too closely to what a human's eyeballs would be for a stuffed animal. Over the next few months following the attaining of the bear, every time the narrator would go upstairs in his house to his bedroom, he felt like the bear was watching his every move. This would go on to happen for years and years, until eventually he's scared to walk around his own house because the thing is watching him. After this happens for an unknown amount of years, the sister abandons the bear and it's put in storage upstairs. She outgrows it and wants to get rid of it because it looks weird. After this situation, the bear then began to appear randomly in various locations around the whole house, and not just upstairs. It would stare at people from a distance, and each time it would do this, it would move closer and closer without being seen actually moving, almost like it was teleporting or something. One night, the brother and the sister were both upstairs, and they heard the bear laugh out loud, like a maniacal laughter, which of course sent the siblings into a panic. Some more time passes by, and then the narrator eventually gets tired of this bear, so he decides to burn it in his fireplace in hopes that it'll kill it and it won't come back and haunt them anymore. And for a while, doing this worked pretty well. He doused it in gasoline, threw it in the fireplace inside, and it went up in flames. The bear didn't come back, and it was finally out of sight and out of mind. Years later, the family moved into a brand new house across the state, and the narrator is now 19 years old. And as you might have guessed, the story goes here because the teddy bear reappears while they're unpacking their new house, and the cycle begins all over again. So that's pretty much the summary of the actual creepypasta. The bear itself is this stuffed black teddy bear with realistic green eyes and a ribbon around its neck. But of course, its famous trademark is how uncanny the images are and the fact that it stalks and tries to hurt people. Several different times in the creepypasta, Teddy tries to attack a narrator while he's sleeping, and sometimes he'll wake up and see it happen, sometimes he won't see it happen. As I said at the beginning of this entry, the creepypasta itself was written back in 2011 by the author Raid Dentist, and it was uploaded 14 years ago on January 14th. And this is just one of those classic stories. I remember reading it back in elementary school. It's not necessarily long, it's not necessarily perfectly written, or even really a unique story, but what Teddy does right is it harnesses that uncanny factor in its imagery. I mean, this bear picture is quite terrifying if you ask me, and the story itself plays pretty well around that. But the next creepypasta video that we've got next takes it a step further, and there might be some real-life danger involved in it. Moving on further into the nostalgic creepypasta rabbit hole is the Blank Room Soup video from way back in 2005, which is a long time ago. Now, you all have probably either seen the actual video or you've heard about it over the last decade at some point, but whatever the case is, this is one of the most disturbing original videos that I remember watching as a kid. And it starts rather mundanely. There's a guy sitting in a white room eating a bowl of noodle soup. Now, the way he's eating it is pretty odd and disturbing because he's using this massive ladle and kind of slurping it into his mouth. And while he's doing this, you can hear the man making these strange crying noises while he's slurping the noodles up. Like his tears are literally running down his face into the noodles, and he's making a mess while scooping it. It's all very disturbing. But soon after the man is hurriedly eating these soup things, a figure of some sorts, dressed in a mascot outfit, walks into the room. He's wearing a black shirt, he has this uncanny head on, it looks very strange, and he moves around in a very disturbing way. He walks up to the crying man who's eating these noodles like he's never eaten before, and he starts petting his shoulder and his back in a way which I assume is supposed to be comforting, but of course, under these circumstances, it's pretty odd. After this, another character dressed the same way comes in the room with that same weird face on and begins to pet the man as well. While all this is happening, the man is eating the noodles and he's crying and whimpering, and the costume figures are being pretty silent besides a few giggle noises, I guess you could say. They sit on either side of the man and the man's face is blurred, but you can still see it's kind of an uncanny picture we're looking at here. And beyond this initial video, others have been released over the years with similar vibes and premises. Sometimes the crying man eats the noodles too fast and he looks like he's trying to make himself vomit. Other weird little things like that occur with the masked people just walking around silently. It's very strange. It kind of gives the vibe of a ARG, but maybe not, because there are some darker real-life theories that exist. And because there's no context given by the person who uploaded the videos, it's pretty obvious the internet's gonna make theories as to what's going on. Many people believe that this was some sort of leaked clip of a snuff film where these masked people were forcing this man to eat until his food inside the stomach causes it to explode. Whether it's as a punishment or a random torture, I don't know, but it kind of looks like that's what's happening here. Viewers then took that theory even further by adding more disturbing details, like maybe the man eating the noodles was not eating noodles at all. Maybe he was being forced to eat the remains of his family who had been killed by the masked men. And after this, even more lore had been added from the people that have seen the video to kind of make this gigantic web of a creepypasta. Others claim that the man is being forced to eat these noodles kind of like he's being fattened up for the slaughter, so the men in the masks can then eat him next. But because of the lack of context and there's not really any news from the uploader, all of these theories kind of run rampant because we really don't know what is taking place here at all. The most notable update in the case comes from a YouTuber known as Rainbot, which you probably heard of, but back in 2015, he uploaded a video trying to get to the bottom of what this video's about. In that video, Rainbot contacts the original creator of the mascot character in the videos. His name is Raymond Percy, animator, a voice actor, and an artist from Hollywood, California. Anyways, he drew these figures that these mascots are based off of many years ago, so we found that link, but obviously it wasn't Percy that uploaded these videos. So Rainbot asked him directly about it, and Percy claimed that he had no idea what the suits were being used for or why they were using his design in the first place. He also didn't even know the video existed. Quote, "The two suits shown in the video were stolen from my truck prior to the video being filmed. The first he heard of the video's existence was when he received the clip in an email," end quote. Now, the original uploader on YouTube was someone calling themselves Renaissance Man, and they released it back in 2005, of course, but people still think that the creator is actually Percy himself, even though he says it's not. Maybe it was some kind of film, surrealism, absurdism film, and maybe Raymond Percy doesn't want to be associated because of bad press that he might be kind of thrown in with. Whatever the case is, we still don't know much about the video despite years and years of investigating. We don't know who the people are, we don't know what the man is actually eating. Is it his loved ones? Is it nothing? It's unsettling to watch, it's disturbing, and I'm sure many of you were disturbed by this video years ago. I'll link Rainbot's video in the description below if you're interested in checking out his kind of investigation into the background of the creepypasta. Wrapping up today's disturbing trip down memory lane, we have the Eyeless Jack creepypasta. And this is what I like to consider probably the least popular, most forgotten, one of the top famous creepypastas from the 2010s. It's often overlooked when you're talking about creepypastas today, so now I want to talk about it. The original pasta goes something like this. A man named Mitch moves into his house in the forest with his brother way up in Canada. And a week after Mitch moves in and gets all his stuff settled and unpacked, he wakes up in the morning morning with a gigantic gash on his cheek. Now, obviously, he's concerned that he has a cut on his face without knowing how it got there, so he then goes to the hospital and tries to find out what the gash is, what caused it. Instead, the doctors gave him a very strange and disconcerting answer. It turns out that the left kidney of Mitch's had been surgically removed overnight while he slept. He was sitting there worrying about a gash on his cheek when his entire kidney was gone. Now, obviously, this is upsetting because how could your kidney just vanish? But Mitch does whatever he can and he goes home. And later that night, at about midnight, he's woken up and he discovers this face hovering above him while he's sleeping. And of course, this is Eyeless Jack, donning a blue mask with black holes where eyes and a mouth should be, along with black goo dripping from them. This Jack figure is just staring at him, probably about to take more of his organs. Mitch grabs his phone from his nightstand and he snaps that famous image we've all seen before the entity tries to attack him. Naturally, Jack goes for him and he claws him across his chest. In the struggle, Mitch actually escapes and he manages to get out of the house and he runs off into the woods outside. Of course, in classic creepypasta fashion, he trips and falls and he gets knocked out by hitting his head on the ground. Nice, Mitch. But whenever he comes to the next day, he's inside of the hospital somehow, and the first thing he figures out is that the brother that he moved in with a few weeks ago, Edwin, is dead, and he was killed the last night. After this, he leaves the hospital and goes back to Mitch's house where he moved in with his parents to get all of his stuff out and to try to cope with his brother's loss. But when they arrive at the house, they see his corpse there, with Edwin's kidney on the ground beside it, with a large bite taken directly from it. The bite, of course, is covered in that same black goo that he saw dripping from the entity's mask the previous night, so he knows who did it. But Mitch is essentially in a terrible position because in the last 24 hours, he's lost a kidney to a demon that eats flesh. He wakes up to that same creature hovering over him. That creature then kills his brother, and now he has to move out again after just moving into the house. Not a very fun time, if you ask me. But that was the original Eyeless Jack story. There's been plenty of subplots and sub-stories written since its inception, but Eyeless Jack himself is this thing that wears jeans, a hoodie, and a mask with that liquid seeping from it. Of course, his main thing that he does is he steals people's organs while they sleep, leaving them with very strange scars and very strange soreness. But where did this famous image of the Eyeless Jack actually come from? The photo, of course, was posted on 4chan on June 7th, 2010 by user Arnon. The original caption of the picture simply read "Nightmare Fuel," and it was posted alongside plenty other pictures too. And 2 years later, on February 15th, 2012, that original Eyeless Jack story was written by user Azel5000, when that user was also 12 years old, apparently. Just pretty weird. I can't lie, I was doing weird stuff at age 12 too. But the story of Eyeless Jack definitely haunted me as a kid. I mean, the idea that this thing could sneak into your room and literally take your organs without you knowing, only while leaving small scratches on you, that's pretty terrifying. It also has real-life implications, and it has stories based in organ theft and unconsensual surgery and trafficking and that sort of thing. And for a 12-year-old to write that, that's pretty impressive, I can't even lie. But Eyeless Jack is definitely legendary in the creepypasta community, and I'm sure most of you probably remember it. Maybe not, though. But those were just 3 creepypastas that not many people talk about anymore. I mean, I know the age of creepypastas is past, and new internet horror like analog horror and found footage horror is kind of the main thing, but I thought these 3 were nostalgic. Hope you did too. And if you want more videos like this, please leave a like. Thanks for watching to the end of the video. If you really did enjoy it, again, tell me in the comments below, leave a like, it's free and it really helps the video out. I like making videos like this, and I've done a few before, so hopefully you do enjoy watching it. Let me know what creepypastas terrified you as a kid, and let me know if it was any of these or other ones or whatever it is. And if you want me to make a series going over kind of nostalgic internet horror stuff, I've already kind of been doing that, but I'm down to do it again. Anyways, thank you so much for everything you do. I love and appreciate each and every one of you. With all that said, I'll see you in the next video. Bye.